Okay, Atomic Family, we are so sorry for whatever on earth that was, but I promise you my Do Not Disturb was on, so that wasn't the problem. I have no idea why it clicked off. So this is part 2 of our Sunday night interviews, and you know, we were just talking about social media, and yay, social media somehow crashed our interview, so that's awesome.
You didn't want us.
What an inconvenience.
Yeah. So we're gonna start again with our interview, and we'll start where we left off. And those who weren't on will just miss all the other stuff.
We were talking about the rotary phone.
We were talking about the rotary phones. So first of all, hi Karina, we love you.
Hey, we love you.
So rotary phones. Let me tell you. You joke, but for my birthday, Pastor Donna went and bought me a rotary phone.
Speaking of Pastor Donna, she's watching.
Hi, Pastor Donna. Pastor Donna bought me a rotary phone, and I was so excited because I wanted to mess with my kids. I wanted to have that be our house phone because we actually have a house phone. But when I got it and I tried to hook it up, I did not know that even though you have phone jacks, it's not actually a phone jack. It's not a landline. It's a computer system phone jack.
Like DSL.
Yeah, so we couldn't plug it in like a landline to actually be able to use it. So now it's just a pretty decoration in my house. But I loved rotary phones. I thought they were awesome.
There is, I don't know if anyone's ever seen it, but it's My Best Friend's Wedding. It's with, I think Julia Roberts or something, and it's very 90s.
Oh, it's one of my favorite movies.
And it's a really cute movie. It's a very chick flick if you're ever into a chick flick. But they use like these super like huge like block phones.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, oh, I had one and that was real cool.
I did too. I had to have it for, it wasn't mine, it was for work, but it's like about this
super
big
chunky
with this antenna that's like this long. And it's very fat, and it's actually the like very first cell phone. That's what it was. It was huge, and it was so heavy because the battery. So like on our cell phones now, there's a battery that's embedded. You don't have to replace the battery. So here's a phone. About this much of it was the battery. It was so heavy you had to click buttons to slide it off, and that's what got charged.
Crazy.
Click buttons to slide it back off.
Crazy.
It's insane.
Remote.
Yeah.
There was phones in cars too, right?
Yeah,
like
phones in cars.
Why did they take that out? I don't understand.
Because people were too busy doing this
probably getting
and getting into accidents.
What's that movie? Water? I don't know his name. He's the dude at the hotel. Front desk assistant dude.
Oh, For Love or Money?
Oh, For Love. Guys, go watch that movie. So good. So good.
That's good.
He's got a phone in his car.
So what else are some things about our generation or older that kind of has like, what on earth are you talking about stumped you?
My dad loves his flip phone.
Still?
I'm like, we gotta fix this.
Yeah.
I think finally they quit making the one that he
No, they
wanted.
did.
So
No.
this last, no?
No, my mom got a brand new one.
Yeah?
She actually told the phone company, she's like,
Where
I need
did
an
she go
upgrade
for that?
Verizon. She said, I need an upgrade, but I only want the flip
Only
phone.
want the flip- That's been my dad for the longest time. This last round though, I think he couldn't find it, and so he finally got a regular phone.
Because
But
we
I was
tried
like,
doing that with his dad, and they're like, we don't sell those anymore.
yeah, I think that's what they told him too.
And like giving us crazy looks. I'm like, hey, it's not for me, okay?
Right.
Calm down.
She's that old fashioned.
Like everyone relax.
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing that got me was the people that come out and pump gas in your car.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
There's still places that do that still.
There are in
Yeah,
certain
it's
places.
crazy.
My dad used to do that back in the day.
Like
Yeah.
for a job.
Full service.
Yeah,
wow.
full service. Yeah.
You know who
They
should
won't.
do
There's
that?
some states that they won't let you out of your car. That you still to this day you have to stay in your car. They will pump your gas. They will take your card and charge it. And yeah, you cannot do it.
That's like so nice.
That is nice. I'm all for it. I'm like, shoot, every gas station, let's do that. I'll stay in my car.
Your husband should be doing it for you.
This might be a Minnesota
No,
thing,
not
but my mom, whenever they had to go out for school, she had to put sandwich bags over her boots to like keep her feet like from getting wet. How that makes any sense, I have no idea.
No.
But yeah, like
Okay.
sandwich bags.
Okay, here I'm gonna tell you. My kids just learned this last year.
Bags.
If it's snowing, you put Ziploc bags over your socks. You put your feet in your boots. I promise you. I swear to every single one of you. If it's snowing and you put the large Ziplocs, just put them over your feet. Put your feet in the boots. I promise your socks will be nice and dry when you're done playing in the snow. I promise.
Do they zip the side?
I wish I knew that
No, I don't
years
zip-
ago.
No, I just I
See,
learned
that
as a
sounds
teenager.
smarter than like outside of the boot. Like
She put it outside.
Yeah,
the boot?
like-
Well, that's not
Wonder Bread
That's not
sandwich
normal.
bags just outside of the
Not
boots.
normal.
Sorry, Mom, if you ever end up watching this, it's weird. Like,
You can do Wonder Bags too. Like I had a friend that we went up to Flag to go playing in the snow, and we took our inner tubes to sled and stuff. And most of us brought Ziploc bags because in Arizona we know, and when you go to the snow, you take that because in Phoenix there is no snow, so we learned that skill. Well, she brought Wonder Bags and put. They came all the way up to her knees, and then she slid on rubber bands to keep them in place. So her whole pants were dry. All of us had wet pants.
That's
Our socks were dry
That's
though.
what my I think that's what my mom had to use. Yeah,
It's a good way to cut off your circulation.
Yeah.
yeah.
Jenny fell in the snow. Why?
Yeah.
Her legs are numb.
It's like that one movie where it's the kid falls in the snow and he's like, I can't get up.
Christmas
Yeah.
story.
What? Yeah.
Pastor Donna said New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey is one of the states. She also said that we don't own here in New Mexico. We don't own galoshes. And she bought me the rotary phone because she loves me.
Galoshes. Nobody says galoshes.
Can we reverse
What
this
do you-
question?
what are they called?
Just boots?
No, there's a difference between galoshes and boots. Galoshes are the ones that you wear in the rain.
Oh, wouldn't you
that are-
just call them rain boots?
No.
Galoshes? I've never heard
Okay,
of
that's
the
not a
word
New Mexican
galoshes.
thing.
Galoshes?
You've lived here your whole life.
I've never
Have you
heard.
heard of the word
I've heard it,
galoshes?
but only in like movies.
Yeah, it's like a very fancy word to me. Like
When you're
galoshes.
57, you call it galoshes.
Galoshes. No, galoshes.
Oh, galoshes.
Galoshes.
Just never heard of that word. I'm sorry.
What? She says, learn, my child.
Oh, Elisa says
Elisa!
they're rain boots. She covered you, girl.
Agreed.
Come on, y'all. That's her best friend. You can't know.
Liz, that's
No.
my bestie.
No. Reverse.
Can we reverse this question? Like, what's something that we've had to explain?
Ooh, yeah, that would be a good one.
Okay. Pastor Donna. And who else was on here? That's my age or older.
Oh, Elisa.
No, my age or older. Let's see.
Lisa stepped it up.
This is the young.
Karina, I think, is the other one that's on here. Pastor Donna, Karina, if there's anything from our generation or my generation and older that we've had to, Pastor Mark, that we've had to have the younger generation explain to us, please message in, because they want to know if there's something that you had to be explained. I had to have Maddie.
What?
I had to have Maddie do this for me. So, somebody in my household, this is what I'm going to say, because I'm not going to totally throw people under the bus, but somebody in my household was doing some social media things, and I wasn't quite sure what some social media things did. I know what TikTok is. I know what Snapchat is. I have a TikTok account. I have an Instagram account. I know what those things are. But there's something in, I think it was Snapchat,
It was
Yeah.
brilliant.
that I'm like, what on earth? And she's like, oh, well, you gotta do that, and then you do this, and you do that. And I'm like, I don't know that.
What all were you showing
So
her?
you know how on Snapchat when you go, like you can go and like listen to those conversations, like it's the audio recording, like the little audio recording in the Snapchats. Okay.
Pastor Donna says all electronics.
No, but okay. So you know when you get sent a picture through Snapchat, like just in the
Yes.
messages part,
Yes.
you click on it. I was like, okay, well now you slide down to X out of the picture. Okay, I'm like this is sliding, and that goes through all the messages. Once
I
she
know,
slides,
and
I'm
then I
like,
slid
no.
the wrong way, and I'm like, oh crap!
She freaked out. She's like, oh my gosh.
Y'all move really fast. Like every time I try to explain to my mom, like how to do, she's like, so this.
And it's like, no, chill for a second. Chill for a
Put your
second.
hand down. You gotta just do one thing at a time. She's like, well, now it's not working. Yeah, because
My favorite one is when they feel like pressure
go
has something
crazy.
to do with it.
Yeah.
So, Pastor Don is.
I'm
like,
clear.
we're not living in the old days where we have to, like-
No. 5 minutes ago, I just heard someone in this room, there's 5 of us, someone out of the 5 of us, made the comment that my generation or older sums you all up into one generation, and I feel very attacked with that
very
because I'm
generalized.
not that person.
It's
There's a
crazy.
select few.
It's
But,
crazy
yeah.
because we are clumped into one because we're this generation of literally our generation. I'm not trying to be mean, but we are the dumbest generation.
I mean, that is true.
No,
Yeah,
we
we
are.
can.
We are. We are the
That's
dumbest.
fair.
I know. I saw it. But we
I
are like.
didn't. What she saying?
Yeah. We are like. We are like a lot of. Wow. And I'm really proving the point right now.
I'm neither gonna deny nor confirm that statement.
So anyway, as I was saying, some people in our generation are very uneducated and not very intelligent. So it's like it really sucks when people clump us in the same group because like there are some really not smart people in our generation.
Yeah, that also though comes with maturity.
Well, and it's also like when like you know I couldn't clump you in the same group with a lot of your generation because I could say the same for any generation. Like a lot of them are not educated. And like they're not intelligent, and common sense doesn't run deep within these roots, and it really sucks. but anyway, read Pastor Mark's or Pastor.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to point out, and I know you two are listening, so be very close listening to this part. I asked, was there something you needed the younger generation explained to you? And one of you said all electronics, and before the one replied, I said that was Pastor Donna because I know she has issues with electronics, and she put Donna. So I knew that because I know you. And then she said the flip-flop thing. Okay, what do you call?
flip flops.
Please, no. It's a flip flop.
No,
It's not a thong.
Flip-flops
it's
are
a
sandals.
thong.
No,
It's a thong.
God. Oh my gosh, Elisa. Her dad used to call it thongs.
They're
So he'd be
thongs.
like, "Are you wearing your thongs today?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Mark, you can't just go around and ask me more than that." That is so weird.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, man.
my gosh.
Yeah, no, our generation called them thongs. So go get your thongs and let's go. And I mean, we eventually like kind of transitioned to flip flops, but then
Thank God.
then there was a generation that called them like house shoes.
I
They're
know.
not
I
house
can't
shoes.
read that far.
No.
I can only see like the little
Yeah,
graphic
or
bits.
they
That's
call them
it.
slippers, or they call them what slides. Slides, really?
She said.
That's
Oh wait, is this Pastor Mark or Pastor Donna? Y'all confuse me. These joint
I
Facebooks.
know, right?
We wore thongs before you were born.
That's fantastic.
Pastor Mark, own it.
Now,
man.
which
Own
one
it.
is Pastor
Own it,
Mark?
Pastor
I'd like
Mark.
to
No, we
know.
all know who that one is.
You own that
We all
thong.
know.
This is so weird. I hate that word.
Well, that's Pastor Donna.
I know it is.
Oh my gosh.
I think my favorite one to try to explain to my parents is what buffering was.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or Medley.
What did they think it was?
Well, because they were trying to watch a movie on Netflix,
Yeah,
and they're just watching like the little,
buffering.
Oh,
little
buffering.
thing spin,
Yeah.
and they're just staring at it, and they're like, "Oh, what is happening?"
It's part of the movie.
And I'm like, "Oh, it's buffering," and they're like, "Oh, did it like lose reception?" I'm like, "No, it's just loading the video.
Switching up, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you stop it?" Well,
Just gotta wait.
You just gotta wait.
I think even just the Instant Pot. Like, I remember getting the
Oh,
Instant Pot for Christmas and, like, having to explain that to my mom. She's like, so you mean, like, it... So, like, everything? It cooks everything? I'm like, yeah, you can put chicken in there, like, rice,
Make rice in 10
soup,
minutes.
like, whatever you want, Mom. She's like, all together? Yeah, all together. So, like, 6 minutes. Yeah, so is it a crock pot? No. It works a lot faster than a crock pot. Like, even just that was, like, kind of a new, like, crazy idea for people.
You know what amazes me though is that we're told our generation, like, because we know, like, so I said we're not really intelligent, right? But then, like, there's a lot of things that we know how to work, and then some, like the older generations. Not saying you're old, but like the older generations, some of them are like, you guys don't know how to like learn new things. It's like, I'm sorry. We don't know how to learn new things because I'm over here teaching my parents how to learn. Yeah, use Facebook. and
Elisa
listen-
just
yeah.
said to attach a photo to an email.
Right.
Having to teach your parents how to attach a photo to an email.
Yep.
No, okay, so here's mine. You think it's our generation? My mother, first of all, has a flip phone. She has a flip phone. But, so she didn't have any kind of social media, any kind of nothing. There was there's no way she can have any kind of data whatsoever on that phone. My niece bought her a smartphone and attached it to my niece's account so that she can get on Facebook and be able to get pictures from all her grandbabies and do video chats. We have had hours, and I kid you not, hour-long conversations about how to get on social media. And it is almost every Sunday when COVID shut her church down. Almost every Sunday I was calling my niece going, can you please get your granny on Facebook Live? Because I am trying to start the church stuff. I can't be doing this with her. Almost every time. Can you please get your granny on Facebook Live?
That's hilarious.
Because she'll message me. Or she'll leave me, or she'll, honey, I'm trying to do this computer thing. Not computer, first of all. I'm trying to do this computer thing. And I can't get on. And it says live. Like it says it's 7 o'clock. And you're supposed to be live at 7. I'm like, Mom, refresh your screen. Well, what is refresh? And so she kind of has this little bit of a breakdown every time.
Yeah.
And so it's hours with that. Like we have, so she actually, the upper room is something that we do for the women's ministry with deeper studies. And my mom wanted to join because I'm teaching about like really hard books. And so the ladies in upper room will get on with me with the Facebook chat rooms. And I can see their faces. My mom will be on my smartphone, doing the video chat that way because she cannot figure out how to click on the chat group room.
That's so sweet, though.
It's very
It's
sweet.
so
The ladies on the upper room are so excited when she's on there because my mom's got this very like soft little 50s kind of, and so they love listening to her, but it's really cute because every time, I'm like, Mom, you just push that button right there. Well, I pushed it, and it's that whole,
Yep.
it's not working.
No, it's crazy. Like some of the things we don't know, and then some of the things that you guys know, and then some of the things you guys teach us, and some of the things that we teach you guys. Like, it's crazy to think that we're all learning actually from each other at the end of the day.
That
Who-
we could be if we
who
use it to
all-
our advantage.
I think I know this answer, but who all still lives with parents?
Yeah.
About to.
Okay,
Well,
Technically.
have you ever had to move back in with parents, Rhett?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you moved back into the older generation at some point, whenever that was there something that you as the child didn't know, but moving back in, you got taught and you're like, wow, that's awesome. Like I'm thinking this because Maddie has said this a couple of times, and so I know it's not just her that gets taught things. So is there something that when you got
like
that?
a typical like adult, like an adulting, grown up kind of.
Yeah,
like,
adulting.
Oh, cool.
FYI, adulting was a word from your generation because we would have never used that. Like that
what
to
was
us,
the question though?
something that when you move back in with your parents that you got to learn that you didn't know before you moved out.
You like when you moved back in with them, that you had to learn outside.
No,
from
that
them.
you had to learn in the household with them that they didn't teach you beforehand. So when there's several things,
I learned
when you-
more living away from my parents. So
but you moved back in here. So
Okay,
this
right.
is a parenting situation.
okay,
So there have been things that you have said that like, man, why didn't I ever get taught that?
y'all take that away, please.
I'm trying to think. Because laundry I pretty much had.
There's something. I can't remember.
Mine goes deeper than cleaning and natural, like
I feel like
regular
both of us were
household
pretty
things.
independent people. Fluffing. You taught me what fluffing was with laundry. I never knew what fluffing was
She didn't
for
know
laundry.
you fluff your clothes when you take them out of the washer.
I didn't even know
wait.
fluff was a thing. I was
Oh.
like, what are you doing?
Fluffing your clothes, like after you dry them, you like, and they've been sitting there for a minute because we've all done it. You're lying if you say you haven't. And you let them sit in the dryer for like 30 minutes, and then you fluff them. You like dry them for 10 more minutes, so they're fluffed.
Never heard of that.
No?
Is that not a normal thing?
I don't know.
Maybe
So
it is
I've
just
been married for a long time.
All right.
I've never heard of that, so that was something new that I've never. But that wasn't from like parents, I guess. I was very independent. My mom taught me like how to cook, clean, do the laundry, grocery shop, maybe like certain cleaning stuff,
I think,
dishwasher stuff.
You had something?
I think for me, like the biggest things was like things they didn't teach in school, like taxes and insurance
Oh,
and
free
like
shit.
all of the things that
Yeah,
like
that's good.
you don't know unless someone tells you. Like there's so many options and
Yep,
things
Yeah.
like that.
that's a really good one. Yep.
So as the next generation have kids, these are things that you guys can be keeping in mind for, every generation of families try to be like one-upping their parents. Like, I'm not going to do that like my parents did that. I'm going to do this totally, like I'm totally doing this different. one of those things is like budgeting.
Or budgeting,
You know.
yeah.
Budgeting,
That's a good
absolutely.
one.
I was so glad. My school actually. So this is one thing your guys' schools did not do. Our school had home economics. Our schools had budgeting
Our schools
in our home economics. We learned how to cook. We learned how to sew. We learned how to clean. We actually learned this stuff in school. It was part of our curriculum. But then, if you had really good parents, you also got the added bonus of being put in practice. And so my parents actually were like, here's some bills. Show me how you're gonna figure that out. You know, like you think you want, like we were like, oh mom, I need to have this. I need to have this. Okay, well here's the bills. Here's how much money comes in. You show me where that's gonna happen.
My folks were really big into Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University.
My
Yeah.
And
parents too.
so, yeah, like every dollar had a purpose.
A purpose.
Well, I wish my parents were like that.
My parents were really against credit, like credit cards, because
Yeah.
they believed that it was like, because what was it in the Bible where you're like slave to the money?
Very,
Yeah, and so they're like, we try really hard to not put ourselves in that situation, which I'm like, yeah, I should have.
Pastor
Learn
Donna
some
flexed
of
her on
that.
there.
I saw that. I heard that come. Thank you, Pastor Donna. Twinkie.
Some things that I've heard Maddie say specifically is like when she moved in the first time, she had learned some stuff, and then when she moved out, she's like, I didn't know that until I moved in with your house. So like, she learned like I freeze my meat, like a lot of my meat.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
Smart stuff, yeah.
Like I would separate. I learned along, when I was a kid that when you get the big packages, you take the chunks about the amount that you're going to use for your family, you freeze it, and then you could just do that. And you do that with freezer meals too. And so these are things that Maddie had never been taught, and she's like, man, I could save so much if I just froze this stuff.
Awesome,
And
yeah.
she had no idea you could freeze bread, and how to do specific type cleaning things. But there are things that your generation learned, and I don't necessarily think, and I'm going to say it's the same for my generation. It's probably the same for Pastor Don and Pastor Mark's generation. It's probably the same for Diane's generation. Your parents probably taught you things in how they were trying to be the example for you and show you things, but when we are in their household as children and teenagers, we don't care. Therefore, we don't listen. So it's not until you become the adulting version of yourself that you realize, dude, why did I not learn that before?
100%.
Pastor Mark said, I think your generation is exceptional and believe y'all will do extraordinary things. There are older people that see y'all's generation as you guys feel entitlement. What do y'all have to say to that? I didn't understand the last part.
As in, we feel like we're entitled.
That's what I
The older generations look at you guys and feel like you guys think you're entitled to stuff, like you don't have to earn it.
That's a lot of our generation.
Yep.
It is. It's a lot of us are pushed aside from that. Can I speak for us on that? Can I say that we're not entitled, people?
It's hard again because it's the lumping everyone together makes it very rough to say because you feel like it's like, but I'm not.
Right.
But I do understand. It's like what she was saying earlier, where it's like the instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nowadays it is all like, I want the nice car, but I don't want to have to work for it. So I'm going to use a credit card for it and be really irresponsible with my money. I want the nice house, but again, I don't have the job to sustain it, so I put myself in debt. I have to, cut out of my mortgage before it's too, you put yourself in really unwise situations because you just want it. Like, you want what 50-year-olds or 60-year-olds are having, with years of working for it.
Exactly.
But it's like 20-year-olds are like, but I'm expecting that now. And we see it all the time. Like, the super nice houses, the big cars.
Well, and
But
we're also tricked into it. Because you have these people who are like, here's this big amount of money. And oh, I can pay that. Yeah, we'll make payment arrangements for you. You can have that nice car. You can have that nice house. I mean, really, at the end of the day, we got to take responsibility for our actions. But it's like, I don't know. Like, our generation wasn't really raised with work ethic. We weren't.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would agree.
I love working, but I see that, and so it's like, 15.
A lot of kids are
the thing is that your generation isn't the first to experience that. My generation was given, hey, here's a paper in the mail that says you get $20,000 credit limit
Yeah.
if you just sign on this dotted
Yeah.
line. And my generation had to make the decision to be like, no, I'm not doing that. So for us, like, I can look at your guys' generation and say, like, I'm telling you, do you know the first time I got a brand new car?
One.
Brand new car, like right off the lot. I was 23 years old, and I had a $400 car payment. First time ever. Your guys' generation, I've seen so many of you, like when you're 16, your parents like, hey, here's your car. Are you kidding?
Ridiculous.
Right.
That's
It blows my
ridiculous.
mind. Blows my
Even
mind.
like, I have like the phone thing. Oh, give me a break. The first
yeah.
time I had a smartphone, I had 5 kids. That was the first time I had a smartphone. I had 5 kids. Levi is 7 years old.
Well, smartphones were
So-
invented when we were little. So,
Right. But the first time I had a smartphone,
right.
because I don't choose to spend $800 on a phone,
Right.
was when Levi was like 3 years old.
I had really
First time.
crappy phones up until like I was an adult. And I will say, like, things that I had, my parents made me pay for. There was no such thing as them giving it to me just for, or whatever. Or even the phone bill. A lot of kids that, like, I went to school with, like, their parents paid their phone bill, but my parents were like, nope, you have a phone, you can pay for it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Same with the car. Like, if you want a car, my first car was like a 90s Saturn. It was a piece of crap, and it ran terribly. I had to pray every time I, like, ran it up a hill, but it was mine. It was like $1,200, and
It worked.
yeah, it works. But I also paid for the insurance and everything. Like, it was my responsibility. I think too, what people kind of lump us in with is what's the generation below ours, like my sisters and stuff.
That's Gen Z.
Yeah, like I feel like unfortunately we get looped with Gen Z, and
Oh, I
Gen
would
Z
agree
is
with that.
definitely like the baby generation where they're very like gimme, gimme, gimme. They're all social media, like very wrapped up in themselves. And unfortunately, I think we get categorized like with them, and we're not. Like we are different.
But I do see, so for present company excluded, I do see that your generation, and Elisa excluded as well, that you guys, this generation has had the attitude, especially around us older people, that, you know, I just need to go get that, oh my gosh, the new iPhone's out, I gotta go get it. Or,
yeah, I see that.
you know, I'm gonna get my big screen TV, and how come you, like, I hear this from about like 20-year-olds down, so maybe not necessarily you guys, but I hear this all the time. How come you just got a brand new, me being 42 years old, how come you just got a brand new, I don't know, because I got a master's degree, and I have a really high-paying job, and so does my husband. Therefore, we worked our butt off to get that. You know, we didn't have our mother or our grandmother buy it for us. And so it is hard when we listen to, and like, so I don't know who it was, I think it was Pastor Mark had said something about working our butts off to give our kids better things. It's true.
Yeah, exactly. But he said it may have backfired though.
It may have backfired.
Yeah.
I can see that, yeah, because now we feel like we are entitled to like having those nice things.
I think looking back,
I see that.
specifically our generation, and I'm pretty sure there's been bits of pieces of it beforehand, like with your generation older, but I think like the commercial industries have been targeting our generations pretty
Yeah.
much since we were born.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure all of us can remember different jingles of different things on commercials,
Yeah.
because that's just what we, grew
But
up
I don't
Yeah.
necessarily think that's you either. I think they have become more, they're appealing to what you like. So like for my generation, let me see if I can think of how to start it. Shoot, I'm gonna mess it up. The Toys R Us commercial.
Ooh. What are you talking about?
No idea what you're talking about.
Toys R Us was a big, huge toy store of my generation
Well, I
that
know,
recently
but
got closed, and there is a song that if I think of the first word, I could sing it all the way through. And it's every time that commercial came on, there was toys galore that they were advertising, and that jingle was stuck in my head for years.
Yep.
And so, you know, the advertising company, social media, of the day.
Yep.
Advertising companies figure out how to appeal to us.
Mhm.
You know what commercial?
What?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
No?
I know what you're talking about.
Which one is it?
But Warren, itsy bitty teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini.
That was a
And she
yogurt
wore
commercial,
for the
right?
first time today. Yeah, it was a
Yoplait
yogurt.
or something?
It was Yoplait commercial.
Okay, I got a couple questions for you because they're asking questions, but we're kind of missing it.
Sorry.
What do you guys think is the most valuable thing that you can receive from the generations that are older than you?
Ooh, wait, what?
What do you think is the most valuable thing you can receive from the generations that are older?
Money advice.
Yeah, money advice.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the big consensus that I'm hearing even as we were talking was like none of us really got properly taught like
No.
finances. And so that's definitely I agree. Like just
Well-
sitting down and being like budget, you know, like how to be wise with your money and things like that would be so
It would have been so helpful.
It would have been
Yeah.
very helpful because I mean, I remember I had a builder credit card
Like a secure credit.
from a bank here, like
Mhm.
super small, like amount of money on it.
Mhm.
And then I moved to Kansas City, and I guess I told him, yeah, I got a credit card here. I don't know if I guess I signed for one with this bank over in Kansas City, and they gave me one, and it was like $1,200. First thing I did is I drove to Guitar Center and I bought a $1,000.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It's so
And
unwise.
so,
But I get it.
but it's like looking back at it now, that's such a 19-year-old decision. But
Yeah.
because I wasn't like aware of, oh yeah, you gotta actually pay the sucker off.
So would
Right.
you think though at 19 had somebody come up to you and go, Steven, let me tell you, just because you have a $1,200 credit limit does not mean that you should go spend that $1,200.
And
Would
you wouldn't
have
listen to
listened
him?
them?
I would hope I would, but a part of me would still be like, but it's a really cool red guitar.
Right.
I will say you're talking to the one guy that probably would listen because he's a pretty like teachable. But if you were talking to me, I would have been like,
Because that's
like,
kind
I
of
have
the
a
issue that I've
different-
come across.
Yeah.
Because I have had, so as a therapist, I deal with young adults all the time. It is a pretty big population in my practice. And yet you can have all kinds of budgeting conversations with them, but at the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to make whatever decision I want to make. I'm an adult.
I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. The financial thing is a huge thing. I also think, because, wait, what time is it?
We're good.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to rush it or anything. I also think that, like, forgiveness is something that the older generation has taught me. I don't know about you guys personally, but I think our generation is a very unforgiving generation. And, like, the older generation's not saying you're old, but
I'm okay with that
okay.
analogy. I'm
but
42.
the generations above me, like, I've noticed that
I
there are
earned my
some
42 years.
yeah, there's some very forgiving people in those generations, and like I've learned, like from you and Pastor Mark, Pastor Donna, and sure we have a Christian base, but like even people who aren't Christians, I know that are very forgiving people, and like that's something that I take value because I used to be such a callous person towards people, and I didn't want to forgive anyone.
I would
But-
bet dollars to donuts, Maddie, if you actually asked Pastor Mark and Pastor Donna, and I think I can speak for them truly, because it was the same with me. One day you are going to be an extremely forgiving person, and you're going to sit across the table from a younger generation, and they're going to say, man, I learned how to be forgiving from Maddie. I was not, neither were they,
Yeah.
extremely forgiven people.
Right.
Because this is years of experience
Mhm.
and years of wisdom and learning through some really bad behaviors that we're like, okay, I understand forgiveness now. I got it.
Right. Because I've been taught, like, you can't go through life with, like, a callous heart and negative mindset all the time. Like, you have to learn how to forgive and move on, because if you don't know how to forgive, you're just going to live with that anger, and guess who the only person being affected by that is you.
Mhm.
And, like, I have learned that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm the problem. So, you know, like, that's what I've learned, is to be a forgiving person. Even though I'll give some grace out there, but there's some people in their 50s and 60s and 30s and 40s who are not forgiving people. But, you know, them aside, I've definitely seen the lighter side of that with generations. So,
Mhm. So Elisa actually said listening to their experiences, that's what she feels that she could learn from the older
Mhm.
generation. So we've got money, we've got forgiveness, we've got listening to others, the older generation's life experiences. What else do you guys think? Anything else?
Nope.
I think like how to move forward and like what's the best. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Never mind.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, this is. I think this is an older thing too. I think this is an older thing too that I've learned. Like relationships, like you can't be reliant on a person. Like, well, when you find your person, sure, whatever, go for it. But like, focus on your future. Like, don't focus on another person. You need to focus on yourself, because if you are not like stable yourself, this is how I've been taught. Like, if you can't build a foundation for yourself, you have no business building one with someone else. Like, and that's, I kind of see it in that way. Kind of, I could be saying this the wrong way, whatever. Someone correct me if I am. But they've always said, like, you know, go off, live your life, you're young, do what you want to do, you know, be smart about it. But, like, do what you want to do before you have to settle down with someone, which I agree and disagree with that, because you can still have fun with your lifelong partner. You're supposed to. You're not supposed to be bored. Right, exactly. You can still go to Italy. Okay,
They always say, like, oh, enjoy your life now, because when you get married, it's going to go downhill.
But
And
it's
I'm like,
not.
I'm telling you, my
It's
life
not.
is
such
way
a
more
lie.
exciting
Yeah, it's
with my husband than it ever was when I was single.
Right, exactly.
Ever.
And the thing is that though I completely agree with the statement. Like, even though we all know I don't live by it, but I totally agree with you. You should just focus on yourself, and especially your relationship with God. You guys have taught me that. Like, coming back into a church foundation, I need to be focused on God first, because if I'm not focused on God first, I'm not going to be focused on the relationship that's put in front of me in the correct way. Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, go off, live your life, be focused on God. Do the things that you need and want to do, and then, you know, it'll happen. But I completely agree with the statement. Like, don't focus on another person right now. Mm-hmm. So, I can take that.
You got anything, Rhett? You think of anything? No? Okay, so our next question is, let's see. Pastor Donna says, I love hanging out with young people because of their excitement and energy for life and perspective.
I can see that, because I think there is a little bit of, like, hopeful gleam, at least. Like, one day we won't be so broke and so, like...
Well, and so I think this is kind of like part 2 of that is, she also says, too many older people are too serious. So being with younger generation helps us not be so serious.
Gosh darn it.
I think there's something about having so much of our lives kind of chaotic in a sense when you're younger, because it is. Like, there's a lot of things that just aren't necessarily, like, in place because we're trying to figure it out. But it's like, if you take things too seriously, like, we're just going to have a breakdown and cry about it. So you might as well just, like, try to enjoy yourself and, like, somewhat be, like, okay, you know, otherwise it's just kind of, like, when you really sit back and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I really have nothing figured out in my life.
Yeah,
like,
no,
what's going to happen to me?
seriously.
Like, you have a little bit of a breakdown, so you kind of have to, like, have more of, like, a youthful...
Right.
No.
Like,
No.
I'm gonna raise my kids differently. That was the question, right? What
comment, more like...
What was the question?
She just that she likes hanging out with younger people because they don't take life seriously. We our generation won't take life so serious. We're too serious all the time. And she also said that she loves the transparency of younger people.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought the question was I thought there was a question about are you gonna raise your kids differently?
We're not there yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, everyone.
We're just going ahead.
Sorry, everyone.
So the next
Question.
question.
The transparency thing, though, is interesting.
Sorry, guys.
Some of us are, and some of us actually are very guarded individual. Yeah, very, very. So it's, I guess if you're hanging out with the right, like, youngins, yeah, we are, but...
I think our generation, though, even though they are guarded, I think we tend to be very blunt.
We're still pretty
Yeah,
like honest,
that's-
I guess, about like
That's what
we're
people
honest
love
right now.
about us.
Because it's not
Yeah.
like someone asks
The
us
hate.
like, how'd you feel about this movie? And it's like, oh, we thought it was okay. Some
Yeah,
of us
we're
be
pretty
like,
bold
we're pretty
about
like,
it.
oh, that movie sucked.
Well, it's the opinionated
Like,
generation, right?
yeah.
We all have like very like strong opinions about like everything.
We don't sugarcoat. Well, I at least don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't sugarcoat
Yeah, you
anything.
definitely have strong opinions, and you believe everybody needs to hear them.
Yeah. Well, not
Yeah.
all of
Absolutely.
us.
Not all of
No,
us.
not all of
Some
us.
of us.
Okay.
We're just talking about the generation.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
There's
I know we have to keep like reminding ourselves.
Man,
Like,
yeah.
It's okay. We're not being
Even just
attacked.
that right there proves my point.
Yeah, we made the point.
Like, hold on, first
Wait,
let
hold on.
me
Let me
explain.
just
We're
tell you.
okay.
We are defending ourselves.
I know, but it's almost like we're like defending our people in a
Yeah.
sense. That's where there's like a little bit of like,
More power to
no,
us.
hold on, we're not that bad, but then we are.
Oh, we are.
Wait
We
a
are.
second. We actually
Totally
kinda
are.
Just for the
Okay,
point.
so here's the next question. Do you guys think you will raise your children differently than
Ooh.
Absolutely.
you all were raised, and why?
Absolutely.
Pastor Mark.
Pastor
She's
Mark.
got an answer. She's got an answer.
Do you guys want to go first?
No, you
How about you guys
got,
go
you
first?
got it though.
Oh, and somebody just said, we were talking about money situation, spend less than you make.
It's facts.
Ooh, I think my mom said that
I
before.
agree with that.
If only,
Okay,
if only.
children,
Steven's first.
children differently than you were raised.
Steven's first.
I think there's a tendency, and I don't think it's just our generation, but I think every generation wants to raise their kids better than
Yep.
Absolutely.
you know, and have more for them.
Yeah.
I think just bringing into that and raising, you know, our children being like, you know, you don't have to have everything figured out. I think is one big thing.
Preach it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we were really
Yes.
told like it's okay to learn.
Yeah.
It's more
It's
of
okay
like
to make mistakes. It's
Yeah.
okay
Yes.
to, yeah.
it's
yeah.
more of like you need to have this figured out, you have that figured out, plan A, plan
Yeah, and
B.
then you feel like crap when you don't get it right because you were like it's ingrained in you that like this is what I told you to do. You didn't do it, so now like you failed, and it's like,
Oh, I'm a failure.
oh, okay.
This is great.
It's
Hey.
Yeah,
it's
I
not-
agree with
It's
that.
not a lot of us are like, oh, we're not where we want to be, so I guess that's like our fault. When really it's like, no, that's part of the process.
Yeah, it is part of the process.
I think there's always like a yes and a no with, I mean, unless you lived in like a very bad household, you know, I mean, for the most part, I think most people are like, yeah, I want to take some things that I learned and bring it into my children's lives, but others, like, I want to make my own. I want to make my own traditions, my own, you know, stuff. I think what Steven said was huge, and something really big for me is going to be like having a deep personal relationship with Jesus, because
Absolutely.
that was something I never really like took hold of as a younger kid, and it really stunted me a lot with how I looked at life, my perspective, my identity, like everything.
Right.
And the whole like it's okay to make mistakes, like it
Yes.
really is. Learn from them. Don't be a dingus about it, but
Dingus. Real dingus.
but yeah.
So I have to add to that one because my mom had a very strong relationship with God, but she never taught us how to have a very strong relationship with God. We saw her. That was
Right.
the great thing. Like, I'm telling you, when my mom was in her Bible study, it was like, do not come into my room while I'm spending time with Jesus.
Right.
And so we saw her with her Bible out. We knew she was praying, but it was, and I'm not saying this as any way fault of my mom, because she was actually raised by somebody who was Jehovah's Witness, and a father who did not have religion. So she was doing her religion because she needed her religion. She needed religion. She needed that relationship with Jesus. And so it just never quite transferred over to us in how to do it. It's not that we didn't know we should do it. We knew because we saw that she did it.
Right.
And I think she ultimately relied on the church to tell us how to do it. But I believe that starts in the home. I love church, and I think everybody learns things at church, but a relationship with God starts in your house. And so that is the one thing from me being raised, not knowing how to have a relationship with Christ. I make it a point to try and point the kids back to it every time I can.
Right.
Because
Right.
that is like, even when we have issues with behaviors, I'm telling them, you are not allowing God to control your decisions right now.
Right.
you're letting somebody else
Yeah.
control your decisions. So
Yeah.
we're always talking about things like that.
Yeah. I think letting kids be like, one, trust until you've no longer earned the trust. That's a big thing. And then I grew up in a very like showing your emotions, and it's a very different household now, but growing up it was very like, lock it up, you know, we don't show our emotions too much. If you're having a bad day, like, go deal with it in your room, you know. And that was kind of rough, so I think that's something I definitely want to bring into like my future kids, is just like,
Cry it out.
it's okay to cry.
Cry it out.
It is okay to like have your emotions, have your feelings. Now, if it's like a tantrum, that's a completely different story. But
Pastor
your
Don would
moment.
say, "Rub some
have
dirt
your
in
little
it."
moment, you know, it's okay. That's because, yeah. And I've noticed that a lot with actually a lot of friends like my age, as I hear the same thing, is very like, my parents were very strict on like not really letting me like express a lot of like the negative emotions and stuff,
Yeah, no, definitely.
which is weird, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Red?
Just agreeing.
I just want to give you a chance to talk. I will be raising my kids very differently. My parents were young parents, you know, so they were kids themselves while they were raising children. So they were learning as were we. So I didn't really get a chance to learn, like from my parents. So when I have kids, I want to be able to have, for one, God will be in my household. God will be the first thing implemented in their life. Because, I mean, for me, sure, like, Jesus was a thing, but, like, it wasn't a religious thing for us to go every Sunday and be involved. I'm also not going to shove it down their throats, but I'm definitely going to make it a known thing, and also, like, you know, it's okay you feel the way you do in situations. I'm not always right. You're not always wrong, you know? And that's the thing, also knowing, like, because I was always wrong growing up, right? Like, I was always wrong. Even when I was right, I was
Did you
wrong.
have to say it too? Like, yes, I'm wrong.
No.
Oh, okay,
Just
that's
kinda
good.
spank
I had
him.
to.
But I was like,
First, like, say it.
no, that's terrible.
I know.
But that's emotional abuse. No, I definitely will be raising my kids very differently, because I'm gonna make the foundation of my household God. Because that, with God, and Pastor Donna kind of said something in the comments, with God, He's your foundation. So with Him, I mean, you're gonna grow, and it's gonna be great. You know, whatever comes after that, if you put
And you're
God
going to have
first-
slip-ups.
right,
As
absolutely,
parents,
absolutely.
you have the foundation of God, though, you're still going to continue to go up.
Absolutely, and like that's what I want. And I also want my kids to grow up to know like what true love is, and how they should be treated, and how they should respond to things, and not always have an emotional response to everything. Because my dad was always like, if someone talks to you like that on the playground, you knock them out. Like, okay, Dad, sounds good. Like, about to fight a 5-year-old, you know. But I was 5 at the time. I don't do that now. But I wouldn't fight a 5-year-old. But I mean, I was, you know, just raised to have an emotional reaction to everything, and I refuse to let my children act like that. If you act like that, I don't know. I believe slapping your kids, so I'm gonna slap them around a bit. You know, just, you gotta, you know, they're acting bad. Anyway, anyway, I'm not gonna be abusive. My future husband is listening to this. I'm not gonna abuse our children.
Oh, Elisa says she loves my saying dollars to donuts. It's her new favorite phrase now. I love you, Elisa. Pastor Donna said marriage rocks. Agreed.
Yeah, it does.
I get the last few. True statement. Pastor Donna says the older you get, the less you care what other people think. Preach, sister.
I can't wait for that.
She pastors unite.
I can't wait
Okay.
for that.
What a relief.
What a relief. I received that.
Let's see. Pastor Mark said, yes, you guys are much more transparent than our generation. I think it's great because you hate fake and don't take anybody
Preach it.
trying to blow smoke up your tailpipe.
I
Preach
totally see
it.
that. Yep. That's 100%.
Lisa says she loves the older generation phrases. Come on now, girl.
I like your Minnesota.
There were some good ones though back in the day.
We're not in Minnesota, sweetheart.
If I could bring back
She
Ruby,
does
I
the
would.
comp.
And that what?
Groovy.
Groovy? Oh, groovy.
Just kidding, by the way.
I'll say, like, just to be sarcastic, I'll say totally tubular. Or
Far
I'll
out.
say radical.
Crab on cracker.
Far out is
Crab
the-
on a cracker. I do say that. Crab
What
on a
was the
cracker.
spoon one? There was a spoon one that was like a.
Pastor Don
Oh,
says,
gag
suck
me
it
with
up,
a spoon.
buttercup. Gag me with a spoon.
Oh, I hate that.
Gag
spoon.
me with a spoon.
Suck it up,
Yeah, that was
buttercup.
my generation. Hey, now making fun of Minnesota.
I'm just kidding.
I did it. I made fun of Minnesota.
Okay, so if there's no other questions from the peanut gallery watching,
That was fun.
Ask away, really.
yeah,
Oh,
you could totally
That's
ask
like the
away.
most questions we've ever like had during an interview.
Yeah.
These young people.
I will
they'll
say
get
though, let me
good.
just point something out. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when we did the part 1 before we got cut off, do you know? I'm not kidding because I do these quite frequently throughout the week. All these Facebook Lives. Your generation are the biggest viewers.
Because we're dope.
So here, it's the social media. So here's the issue. On part 1 that we were doing, there was one person watching. You want to know why? Because my viewers are all here with me.
no.
That's
That is
rough.
fair. That's rough.
That's rough.
So part 1, there was one. They'll watch it later. Everybody, our older generation is like, I'll watch it later. I'll watch it later. So the older
Fantastic.
generation doesn't typically. Mama Louise was on there, but the older generation doesn't typically watch in the moment because
Yeah.
they have things that they're doing. So they're like, oh, I'll watch it later. It'll be there later. Your guys' generation are instantly on
The
top of it.
notifications.
Yeah.
And so then you just
Yeah.
click it and
But
It's like that.
I think for us though, it's mostly like I'm doing something right now important, but I still want to watch.
Yeah. So
I'm at work right now, but
I actually have thoroughly enjoyed this, but let me tell you, there's a reason why we did this today. If y'all missed part 1, and I know y'all did, because the only one that was on there was Mama Louise at the time. But if you all missed part 1, the reason these 4 were invited today, and actually there's 2 that aren't with us, but they're part of this too. They have, okay, so yesterday, what are you doing?
Pregnant mamas eat.
Hiding your chocolate? She's hiding her chocolate stash.
the only one who's eating.
I'm exposing.
No, I had mine. I just threw my wrappers away ahead of time. So yesterday we had the Halloween party at our house, and the majority of the guests left about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and these 4
And Marcus.
and Marcus
Yep.
stayed until right close to midnight. And they actually spent the time from the moment the other group left until about, Pastor Donna says, we can see it.
So embarrassing.
Until about 12. And they spent that time utilizing the pastor that was in their presence. They asked God and Bible questions. Literally 2 hours. And it was a
cool.
very cool time
Yeah.
to be with them and hear their questions and be able to, as a person who has a calling for teaching, being able to be there for them to help them understand some things, maybe even get them to kind of communicate a little bit differently with each other in how they ask questions. And so I loved it. Well, in that, they collectively asked if they could have their own small group, young adult small group. So, anybody want to give the announcement? Anybody want to say anything about it?
Alicia's pregnant.
If y'all didn't know.
There's that too.
Yeah.
But the other announcement, I don't want to say it. Because I'm afraid I'm going to say it wrong.
Steven, what's happening?
Oh, you even asked me
We-
to.
I'll do
In the
it.
garlic.
we are in the process of planning to start a young adult small group.
When is it going to start? Like, what, not the day and time.
Generally, the new year,
Yes,
2021.
yes. What is the population?
The population is 18 to 30.
Yes. So if you are an
No offense to
18-year-old,
31-year-olds.
18-year-old to 30 years old, the cutting off is 30. You really want to be a part of this group because they desire to grow bigger in their relationship with God, and they are so excited about being able to start a young adult small group. They talked and talked last night, and then they came over today. We sat and brainstormed a bunch of ideas and kind of wrote down like the framework of what was going to happen, how it was going to happen. And they were here right after church eating pizza, brainstorming until about 5 o'clock. So this is something that is a really strong desire on all of their hearts. And the other two that aren't here currently was Marcus and also Kaylee. And so the 6 of them are going to be the junior core. So the 4 pastors of the church are the core of the church, and the 4 pastors of Atomic head the church. And so they were jokingly talking as a team, like, well, they're the pastors of the core. We could be the core of the small group. They are their own little committee in building this ministry for young adults. So I told them they could be the junior core. So there's 4 of the 6 junior core ready to do young adult ministry, young adult small group with some other young adults. So we're going to start advertising that. We're going to start letting people know more of the information later on as time goes on. They're going to continue to do some planning and preparing with me. And then in January.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Too? Okay, so I also want to comment to if anyone decides to share this with an 18-year-old or 30-year-old, whatever, that's your choice. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter if you're like new to the Bible. It doesn't matter if you've had 10 years under your belt. Like, we want the babies of the Bible and we want the grown-ups of the Bible, right? So we want everyone.
This group is very,
right.
different.
It's very diverse. Like, okay, personally, and I have no shame in this because I'm learning. I don't know a lot about the Bible, and I don't.
You have a passion right now.
But I have a passion because last night when we were talking, I just had this. I mean, it was Holy Spirit. It wasn't even a spark. It was Holy Spirit being like, y'all need to make this happen. You guys need to make this happen. And I couldn't sleep last night because of it. I was tossing and turning, and it was like, this is a calling that, like.
But you weren't tossing and turning because you were concerned.
No, it wasn't.
You were
because I
tossing
didn't
and
have.
turning because you were excited.
I was
about
excited.
The possibilities.
Yeah, because God is not a God of worry and anxiety. It was definitely a peaceful feeling in my heart. And it was just more like, I'm excited. Like, I just want to learn, and, I don't know. I'm welcoming personally, and obviously you guys too, that even if you're new to the Bible, you're welcome to come and ask as many questions as you want, because I was asking so many questions last night. I was
we
like,
all were.
we were
like, shooting her with like question after question.
There's a book called that, and that happened in the Bible.
Like,
and
what about David did, huh?
Right, and then when it was put into perspective, I was like, holy goodness! Like,
It's really cool.
These are just people who walked with God and experienced life with God, and all they're doing is writing about it. That's like me writing in my diary every day about my walk with God. And it's like something, you don't want to know about my walk with God, but you want to know about, the Bible and the walks, and it's really cool because they were people just like us, and it blows my mind. And we're obviously not writing the Bible ourselves, but we're living in times where God He's writing a book for us, right? I mean, we have our own books, and it's like He's writing in them. He's like, this was your walk with me, And it's just kind of cool, right? So it's like, I don't know. That's how I'm seeing it right now.
It was actually pretty amazing last night because, so their generation, another stereotypical thing is they apologize a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Which is why, part of the reason why Pastor Don is like, when you get older, you won't care what anybody thinks. I promise you. We don't apologize.
So
We don't apologize
so
the way y'all
excited.
apologize. We're like, just
We do
deal with it.
apologize
So
all the
excited.
time.
It's not that we don't. When we are actually wrong, we will apologize. But your generation apologizes because you feel like whatever you have to say is an inconvenience,
Interesting idea.
and that's not true. But last night, they had so many questions that they would be like, okay, I'm sorry, like, I know this is a lot. Like, can I ask you another question? And for me, it was like, ask away. I'm wide awake. Let's do it. And so I appreciated all the questions you guys had, because I would much rather, and I said this to them, I would much rather them ask questions that they feel like they're not clear about, or they're nervous about, or maybe they're unsure, or maybe they think it's a stupid question I shouldn't ask. I would much rather you ask the questions and get the correct information than to continue to assume and then therefore transfer your assumption onto somebody else, because it's false doctrine. So I loved all the questions. I mean, we had some like, holy cow, that's in the Bible? You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's some weird
And
stuff.
it is okay to, and I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? It is okay to question the Bible, like when you're new to this, right? Like, it is okay to question it, because God expects you to question, like, have questions. Like, why did this happen? Exactly. So if you're thinking like, I can't question the Bible, absolutely you freaking can. That's the whole point. Why did this happen? Why am I going through this? Give me an example.
Yeah.
Show me some text. And I have been told that people have been taught, you can't question the Bible. Honey, I'm here to tell you, yes you can, because I do it every single freaking day. So, just saying.
It's actually good, because it's questioning, you know, because you're wanting to learn more.
Yes.
You're wanting to know, like, the truth.
Yes.
And, like, I think it was such a good, even just, like, last night, I think it was such a different experience just for me, because it was a chance where, like, I was finally able to, like, ask those questions or say, like, really, that happened? And someone's not on the other end either making me feel stupid or making me feel judged or making me feel like, how long did you go to church again? Like, just those questions. Or, like, you know what? The Bible is how it's supposed to be. Like, you need to stop asking questions.
Right.
And so it was a really cool time to just do that. And that's what we're kind of wanting, I think, the study to sort of be, is very similar in a sense to last night, where it's, you know, we get to ask those questions. We get to be vulnerable. We get to
We're comfortable.
Yeah,
and
be
the
comfortable
other
with
person
each
that's
other.
there isn't going to be like, come on, Alicia.
Yeah,
You've been in church your whole life, girl. Get it together.
Yeah. It's like, no,
That
I'm still
wasn't part
actually
of it.
really confused about this part, or like that never really made sense. And you know, the questions that even maybe sound rude in your mind, like getting them out loud, you know, they're not actually that rude. You're just wondering, like it really is, because the Bible is kind of confusing. It's not confusing. If you don't know how to read it, it can be confusing.
Right.
That's the whole
why
point
you
of
need
Bible
truth
study.
behind it.
Yeah, that's the whole point of Bible study.
Yeah.
And the thing is that when you have questions about the Bible, you're always going to get an answer. There is not one question that you have that goes unanswered. And that's the cool part about the Bible, you know? Because it answers every single emotion and every single season you're having. And that's what I'm excited to learn about. Because, like, you know, anyway, Pastor Sarah and I had conversation all the time. I live with her. But I always have questions. And it's like, like I said, any season that you're in, any question that you have, it's going to be answered. You know, and that's why I want to dig deeper into the Bible, because there's always something there.
And there are times, and it's not just with Maddie. I've had this conversation with other young adults where they'll be like, okay, Pastor Sarah, I'm like done. This junk is happening. I have tried. And I'm just like, and even Maddie, okay, what does the Bible say about that? Almost like she's trying to stump me, like,
I'm like, so you got to
what do you got about that? What does your word say about that? I'm like, well, actually, in Deuteronomy, and she's like, it really says that?
And then I walk away.
And that's what happens when you live with a pastor. You can't stump them like that.
Yeah, it's great.
I'll figure it out one way or another.
It's great. And then she chooses your husband in a Sam's Club.
Yeah. Robbie, if you're watching. Oh man, this has been awesome.
Like,
I am so
Robbie.
excited for what is going to happen with them. I am very excited with the fruit that's going to come of this. You know, Elisa wants to do virtual. We're not going to be doing Facebook Live Bible study. That's too impersonal for this setting.
Right.
But there might be a possibility that
FaceTime.
somebody might have you on FaceTime
Yep.
and you can be a part of this. We'll see. We'll be praying about that. But, you know, this is something that you guys are going to, just this group alone. So, you know, we talked about how the group might get really large of young adults, but there's still the junior core that's going to experience something that even they don't get to, because you guys are making your own little tiny small group
Right.
to be able to speak to the small group. And so you guys are going to see fruit come from this that, like me, seriously, Kaylee and I were talking about this. She is dating one of my old youth. When I was a youth pastor, he was in between that high school college group, and he was like assistant leader, him and his brother. And for me, that is a huge thing because of the time that I spent with this young adult, this teenager. I see the fruit of his life, and it's so exciting to see. You will see the time that you committed to doing this type of thing. You will see fruit years later going, holy cow, we're in group together. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You will experience it, and it will feel so amazing. So I'm excited about what is going to happen with you guys and how it's going to impact your life, and I can't wait to see what happens. Seriously.
And share this, please. If you have any 18, you know, to 30
18 to
year-old
30
friends,
year olds.
share it, please.
In Albuquerque.
Because
Yeah.
we're really cool people, I swear. You know, we look like a bunch of nerds, but we're pretty cool.
He's a nerd. He is a little bit of a nerd.
I-
But
We're all
but
nerds.
he's, you know, we're chill. We're cool.
Any last words of wisdom from the four of you?
Pick up your Bible, bros. That's all I gotta say.
Don't be a dummy.
Don't be.
Don't be a dummy. In the name of Jesus.
Quit being dinguses. No, I'm just kidding. We love you guys.
We love you all. Have a good night. I hope you enjoyed this interview with some really amazing young adults. And, you know, more to come from them. This is a great thing for them. So I want to tell you guys, be in prayer, because this generation is the next generation to lead the church. So pray that their growth is exponentially greater than ours ever was.
Let's pray.
Love you guys. Have a good night.
Love
God
you guys.
bless. Remember, Tuesday at 9 a.m. is Faith Talks with Pastor Mark. Wednesday at 7 p.m. is Wednesday's Word with me. Both are on Facebook Live. And 7 p.m. inside the church building is Worship with the Word for y'all. We love you. Have a great night. God bless. Oh, ladies.
Oh, yeah, ladies. Yeah.
Ladies.
This is
Ladies.
I should get the music on.
Let me just tell. This is
Oh, my
ladies.
phone died,
night.
yeah.
Okay. Ladies, all of you ladies who are part of Atomic Church, we are going to have an event for the girls on November 14th at 6:30 p.m. It is appropriate pajama attire. Pajama attire, and we are going to watch a Christian comedian, so please, appropriate, please.
I know.
Pajamas
have
and
to
comedy.
say that.
6:30 p.m. here at my house. If you are a lady of Atomic Church, you want to be there. We're going to have lots of fun.
Yes.
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 And we said dessert, right? We're doing dessert.
right?
I'm what?
Dessert.
Oh.
We're doing dessert this time?
For PJ night, right?
We're doing dessert. I'm
This one
making
doesn't
dinner.
Have a good night. We love you all. Bye.